Congratulations, you done leveled up in life and became successful. And now you got the baddies in your DM acting unusual. But here's what to do when you get an unusual attitude in the airplane. There you go! Boom! Being able to quickly identify and recover from an unusual attitude is a vital skill in your pilot journey. It can easily happen in a variety of different situations where you can find yourself in an unusual attitude. It can be something like maybe you inadvertently flew into a cloud when you were flying VFR. Or maybe it's a situation where you just simply got distracted. One tip for if you're ever looking down while in the plane, of course, trying to check your checklist, instead of you looking down to check a checklist and then try to look back up and get that visual outside the plane, bring the checklist up to you. Instead of you having to look down for it, you can bring it up to eye level. That way you always maintaining that nice visual outside while checking and confirming everything on your checklist as well. So that's just a nice tip to make sure you try to stay away and avoid the unusual attitude, because the best way to get out of an unusual attitude is to avoid it at all costs to begin with. But let's just say hypothetically you got distracted for any particular reason and you did get into an unusual attitude. Let's talk about how to slip and get up out of that thing. Hey, let go! Hey, there are a few key elements that'll help you get through and recover from any unusual attitude. Whenever you're dealing with an unusual attitude, it's usually either two primary things in positions that you can be in. Either nose high, or nose low. One of the two that you're going to be in when you're in some sort of unusual attitude. In the recovery process, the very first step is similar whether you're recovering from nose high or you're recovering from nose low. Boom! So let's say you floating that thing across and you end up in that unusual attitude of that nose down kind of situation. Obviously, one of the first things you should be doing is quickly scanning your instruments, starting with the airspeed indicator. The airspeed indicator can tell you a lot about what's happening with the airplane. The first thing it can tell you is whether or not how fast are you going and are you reaching that never exceed speed. Hey, let's just say you were in that nose down attitude, banking hard to the left. And then you check the first thing, that airspeed indicator, and it was indicating that you were going extremely fast and you were approaching that never exceed speed. Of course, the first thing you want to do, reduce that power. Once you start to reduce that power back, your next move is you want to correct the ailerons, make the ailerons level, along with putting in the proper rudder inputs, coordinated, kind of getting things back coordinated and level again. And then lastly, of course, you want to correct the pitch and get you back where you need to be. Boom! So you go from correcting that airspeed by reducing that power, then of course correcting those ailerons with that rudder input to get everything nice, straight and level, and then lastly you correct the pitch and get everything back to where you need to be. Nice and easy for the unusual attitude recovery if your thing is barreling down one time. Hey! Boom! But let's just say it was going the other way. Remember, there are two primary ways that you can be in an unusual attitude. Nose high or nose low. So that was the nose low scenario. Let's just say we talk about that nose high thing. So you floating that thing and you in an unusual attitude, and let's just say you pitched up high and you banking to the left. How are you going to correct that? The first step is exactly the same. You should be looking at your airspeed indicator. And when you look at your airspeed indicator, what are you going to see if you're pitched up like this? That you're very close to a stall. Obviously, you don't want the plane to stall. Boom! So your next move will, of course, be to give it some power and then, of course, bring your elevators forward. Doing both of those things simultaneously would get you out of that no stall territory on your airspeed indicator and getting that air back over those wings nice and comfortably by doing both simultaneously. Giving it power, bringing the elevator, pushing the elevator forward, simultaneously doing that. Then you can correct that bank that was happening to the left. The bank is the least of your problems when you pitched up. The most important thing is you want to make sure you don't get into a stall, because we know a stall, and particularly an uncoordinated stall, can lead to a spin. If you want a review of what a spin causes a spin and how to recover from a spin, there's a video on this channel. Link at the end of this video so you can review that one time. Boom! So if you were in that thing pitched nose high in an unusual attitude and banking to the left, the first thing you want to do is look at that airspeed indicator. If it indicates that you're anywhere near that stall speed, you want to make sure you correct that first. Nice, easy way to correct that. Push that power in and, of course, bring that elevator forward simultaneously. Power in, elevator forward. Once you have that clear, then you can fix the bank. If you're trying to fix the bank before you've corrected those other things, it can lead itself into getting into any kind of adverse yaw and going into a spin. It can be uncoordinated, all sorts of things that you don't want to be when the airplane is pitched up nose high and you're trying to make the corrections with the ailerons. Boom! Boom! Some nice tips and takeaways from recovering from an unusual attitude. Of course, first and foremost, you want to try to avoid any kind of unusual attitude at all costs. But if you happen to get distracted, or if anything happens and you find yourself in an unusual attitude, remain calm. That should always be your first step. Make sure you're not making any kind of post-haste or knee-jerk trying to reactions to get yourself back straight and level. You're going to get back straight and level, but just do it nice and calmly. And then remember, your first step is always looking at that airspeed indicator. Because whether you pitched high or you pitched low, looking at the airspeed indicator can tell you a lot. Boom! After you determine how fast you're going, then you can make the appropriate inputs, whether you're pitched high or low, to get yourself back straight and level. Remain calm and execute. Hey, don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. I am Donovan Batiste. Hey, this is Leadership Mindset, a place where you can come for free and fun videos about everything that you need to know for you to become a pilot. Because I want you to feel what pilots all over the world feel when we swinging, hey, and banging that thing. Subscribe to this channel one time. Love you one time.